So on to the next point. Pompeo's surreal speech on China: an ideological struggle is underway between Beijing and free societies, and the Trump. I think they consolidated that into one word. Administration is on the wrong side, like the Trump is
Hope
just
they
one
don't
word.
make that a word.
Oh, jeez, that would be the just if his ego isn't already through the roof.
I don't.
Unfortunately, Pompeo, like his targets in Beijing, is engaged in doublespeak, whereby he offers win win outcomes, but his words are at odds with his actions. He says the U.S. will organize the free world while alienating and undermining the free world. He extols democracy while aiding and abetting its destruction at home, and he praises the Chinese people while generalizing about the ill intent of Chinese students who want to come to get to America. So this is actually so the Atlantic. I don't know what your opinion of it is, but this is an outstanding piece to me by the Atlantic. Um,
It's good.
but
I
but
mean,
just right off the bat, I'm like, this is absolutely a good take, and I don't know if it's because the Atlantic is engaging in partisan hackery here or what, but it's very well written and it's on the nose of how I felt about Mike Pompeo's speech. And I'll just move on here. Pompeo is also ultra loyal to a president who cares not one whit for democracy, dissidents, freedom, or transparency overseas. Absolutely true. Trump's long track record on this is well documented, and it has defined his personal approach to China.
not that. It's China.
Yeah, oh my God. I don't even, I feel bad just even repeating it. If
I shouldn't have
I
said
think you've
that.
seen there's a video on YouTube of him.
I was just saying.
We might have actually watched it at your place one time of him just saying China over and over again for like 5 minutes. It's like absolutely insane. It's completely insane. I don't know why I don't believe I can't even form this sentence correctly. There are days where I wake up and I'm like, am I still on Earth? Because what is happening anymore? Why why do I feel like one of few people who get it? But it's not everyone gets it. I feel like most people get it now. Most people
Yeah.
are waking up, which is the good news about what's going on, which is why I think we're due for a really crazy struggle over the next few years is because everybody's waking up. And once you wake up, man, you can't go back. Nobody wants to go to sleep after they wake up. Not from this. So I think we're just gonna see a lot more craziness coming out over the next few years, and everyone's got nuclear missiles, so duck and cover.
Okay.
So the article continues. An ideological struggle is underway between China and free societies, but Trump is on the wrong side. The Chinese Communist Party wants a tributary international system where smaller countries are deferential to larger powers, instead of a rules based international order where small countries enjoy equal rights. The CCP also sees no place for universal rights on global liberal norms and wants to ignore the principles of open markets to pursue a predatory mercantilist economic policy. So does Trump. And I think that is the real key here is both countries want the same thing. They both want smaller countries to be deferential to them. So to say that one country is doing a bad thing while the United States is not doing anything wrong is complete bullshit.
Yeah. Yep. That's the hypocrite. That's the hypocrites working out.
But I just don't understand how they just so boldly, like Mike Pompeo just so boldly in front of cameras, in front of people, reporters, comes out and says this shit. And people applaud it. They really I don't know if they actually believe it, but they applaud it.
Who's in the
Indeed.
room applauding this crap?
Sorry?
Like, there's like, who's in the room applauding this stuff? Like, there's the people who don't know anything about it, and then there's people who are like super pro on it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, there's numerous. I mean, this kind of war hawk, chicken hawk, or whatever you want to call it, behavior is replete throughout American society. There are people just who are invested in these things for themselves, and they go there and they're like, "Oh my God, the money we're gonna make off of this," and they start drooling, and then that's it. They're in for it. They don't care what happens to the little people in these societies. They don't care what happens to workers. They don't give a shit as long as it's money in their pocket.
I mean,
The article
to be
continues.
fair, this article, I mean, there's just this like, there's better examples of this, like Jamal Khashoggi, like, is not a good example. How about, like, you know, Yemen?
Yeah,
Like, how about
that's
like
a
these
great
kind of things?
example.
Yeah. I mean, he's talking about democracy. I get it, like, it's something, but like, and his journalist, but like, there's way better examples than these. Like, oh, he's friends with the Victor Orban guy. It's like, yeah, sure, like, but he's also supporting all the bombing of these places. He's also like
Right.
screwing over democracy now. Like, now he's screwing it over hardcore. Like, it's just with the mail-in stuff and like, I don't know, any chance he gets. So yeah, I mean, I think there's better examples. I don't think
Yeah.
it's but
No,
it's a good
I
point.
agree.
People suck.
When you say better examples, can you be more specific?
What?
When you say better examples, what do you mean by better examples
I
of
mean,
what?
like, this article could bring up a ton of other stuff that
Oh, it
Trump.
sure could.
Yeah,
It sure could. But
yeah.
it's very typical of the media to be myopic in their scope.
I mean,
Um,
Jamal Khashoggi's one guy. How many people have to die because he's American citizen? Like, so the other people's lives don't count because they're. What about all that? Or like, just example of the soldiers that died in
that's the
Iraq?
game here, man. Like don't pay attention to the fact that we're how many people have been murdered in Syria because of the United States and their proxies. How there we're engaged in a proxy war in Yemen right now, and how many do they have? See, the United States, if one person dies in the United States, there's a system to capture that. But in a lot of these countries, those systems aren't as sophisticated to capture because they aren't as sophisticated as the United States. So when people die, a lot of the times we have no idea how many people died. Who knows what they're reporting back to people? There are estimates that say millions of people have died in Iraq because of the United States. And there are other estimates that say it's only hundreds of thousands of people. Both numbers are bad. Both numbers are really bad. But when does the United States turn the corner when other people start calling the United States a rogue country that needs to be stopped? And at that point, when the governments of those countries decide that the United States is bad enough, they're going to start attacking the United States. They're not going to stop. They're gonna use some sort of humanitarian crisis, some reason to decide to attack the United States, and they'll probably have allies to do it. And I'm just saying, like every single country that has turned into an empire has eventually suffered some sort of militaristic defeat.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's gonna play out a lot more complicated than that already, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Right.
Hopefully, it won't come to that, but we'll see.
Well, it's not to here's the thing. It's not like whether hopefully it comes to that or not, right? Like the British suffered a defeat in Egypt back I think in 1946, which resulted in the end of the British Empire. So they never actually saw any war on their land. So to your point, I understand it may never actually happen on the United States' soil, but you look at Chris Hedges, you look at a lot of these intellectuals
Yeah,
here in the
I
United
get it.
States, they
Yeah,
all
yeah,
think
they're
that
waiting for it.
The United States is falling off a cliff right now because it's being
Yeah.
extracted. And by 2030, he predicts that that's going to be it for this country. But I digress. I'll move on. Indeed, Trump never speaks in terms of a competition of systems between democracy and authoritarianism. He rarely criticizes authoritarian governments on their human rights records. He has done little to press China to free the Canadian hostages. He and Pompeo sought to rehabilitate Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia after the brutal murder of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi. He has embraced the Hungarian autocrat Viktor Orban as he shredded his country's democratic institutions. The only countries that need to fear a reprimand from Trump on human rights are those led by left wing Latin American authoritarians. Everyone else gets a pass. So I think that last sentence is really interesting to me. I mean, there's a lot that's interesting here, but I didn't even know about the Canadian hostages, to be completely honest with you. Um, but It's true. Any country that's left wing that tries to do anything for its people that the United States can get away with assaulting, the United States will they'll create some sort of narrative and they'll jump right in and they'll assault those people. And it's tried and true. They do it all the time.
Not disagreeing with you. It's a huge history there.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
Exactly. As we're going to see in a second. Oh, that's a totally different thing. All right, I'll stop this. This will be our next.